From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Even as Hurricane Helene was pressing toward the Florida coast, AccuWeather's team of expert meteorologists were monitoring part of the Gulf of Mexico for yet another round of tropical trouble. A tropical rainstorm is expected to intensify and strike the Florida peninsula next week with torrential rain, wind, and the likelihood of flooding. Thunderstorms have been persistently erupting in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico for the past few days. AccuWeather has begun to refer to the system as a tropical rainstorm to raise public awareness of the risk to lives and property and to assist in planning and preparation. As the rainstorm continues to churn over the warm Gulf waters this weekend, it is expected to strengthen before making landfall just south of Tampa Bay on Wednesday. At this time, the greatest threat to lives and property appears to be due to torrential rainfall that can lead to dangerous, damaging, and disruptive urban flooding in Central and South Florida, beginning as early as Sunday and lasting through the middle of next week. Besides torrential rainfall and flooding concerns, this tropical rainstorm can bring rough surf, dangerous seas, and strong winds. A general 4 to 8 inches is forecast to fall on portions of Central and South Florida, with heavier rain and higher totals of 8 to 12 inches expected for places like Tampa and Orlando. The AccuWeather local storm max for this rainstorm is 30 inches. Rainfall rates of several inches per hour can occur in the major metro areas, easily overwhelming the storm drainage system in cities such as Cape Coral, Naples, Port Charlotte, Fort Myers, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Melbourne. Even though much of Florida's soil is very sandy and can absorb heavy rain quickly, there will still be enough runoff that works into creeks, lakes, and rivers to trigger flooding. Water levels may rise quickly on the smaller streams and lakes, but may take a week or two to cycle through rivers such as the Peace, Imperial, Hillsborough, Myakka, and St. John's. AccuWeather Chief On-Air Meteorologist Bernie Rayno said that the feature will take an east-northeast track across the southern Gulf of Mexico, where waters are sufficiently warm in the 80s, and wind shear, disruptive breezes are low. Because of these two key conditions, AccuWeather's team feels that there is the likelihood of the feature developing into a tropical depression and the possibility of it becoming a named tropical storm, should the feature spend enough time over the Gulf of Mexico before crossing Florida. It could even evolve into a hurricane. The stronger the system becomes before landfall, the greater the impacts from strong winds and storm surges. The dangers from flooding are likely, and there may still be locally severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes and waterspouts. What was supposed to be a routine wedding rehearsal in Grassy Creek, North Carolina, last Friday, September 27th, transformed into an urgent water rescue mission as Hurricane Helene swept through the area. The groom's father, Eddie Hanel, was in the midst of preparations when he learned that a woman was trapped in her home near the River House Inn. Responding swiftly, he requested a life jacket, a rope, and an oar from the inn's owner. As he rushed outside, he encountered Phil Worth, whose wife, Leslie, was unable to escape their inundated house. The men grabbed a canoe in a desperate attempt to reach Leslie, but the swift currents thwarted their efforts. The situation grew even more perilous when debris from another house's roof, carried by the floodwaters, collided with the Worth house. Video footage provided by the Hanel family shows the impact, causing Leslie's house to tilt and partially break apart. The onlookers began shouting for Leslie to jump to safety. Hanel tried to navigate the canoe to her, but the water was too fast and the wind too strong. In a moment of desperation, he jumped into the water and swam to her. Reaching Leslie, Hanel grabbed her life vest and urged her to kick hard towards the shore. The tumultuous waters eventually carried them into calmer currents, allowing them to swim to safety. As they reached the shore, those waiting burst into tears of relief. Despite the harrowing ordeal, Hanel extended an invitation to the Worths to join the wedding rehearsal dinner. The wedding proceeded the next day with only half the guests and no electricity, illuminated by over 100 candles. Neighbors pitched in using chainsaws to clear blocked roads. Hanel said later that despite the chaos leading up to it, the wedding turned out beautifully. Everything before the ceremony was a disaster, but the wedding itself was perfect. That's all for now. For more stories and regional forecasts, visit AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, including a hurricane tracker, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe, and I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.